In the midst of a rebuild after a dreadful year in the Premier League, Chelsea are looking to revitalize their midfield, being linked to the likes of Moises Caicedo, Romeo Lavia, and Gabriel Veiga. Enzo Fernandez and the recently arrived Christopher Nkunku will most likely hold down starting spots at Stamford Bridge this upcoming season, meaning Chelsea will need to find a player to complement them in the middle of the park to complete the midfield trio. Lavia and Veiga will both cost around 40 million, and Caicedo could be north of 80 million. But Chelsea could plug this gap with a younger player already at the club, saving themselves millions and offering their talented youth prospects a chance at the first-team football. Pochettino wants to position a more defensively solid midfielder next to Fernandez, meaning Conor Gallagher and Cesare Cacete are unlikely to fit into this position. Though Enzo has the capacity to play as a defensive midfielder, adding another next to him would free him from some defensive duties, allowing him to assert his free-flowing offensive creativity over the game without the fear of leaving the back line to fend for themselves. This is where Andrey Santos comes in. He has the quality and raw natural ability to play alongside Enzo in a defensive role, but few may know who this 19-year-old Brazilian kid is. Andrey Santos was born on March 3, 2004 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. He was introduced to soccer at the age of 4 through futsal, and soon after joined Vasco da Gama's youth academy. He began playing as a defender, but over the years he was eventually moved to midfield because of his technical and passing abilities. However, his defensive abilities never faltered. Santos made his professional debut for Vasco da Gama at 16 years old when he came on as a substitute in the 85th minute against Volta Redonda in March of 2021. Later that year, he made his Serie B debut in a 3-0 defeat against Londrina. In the following campaign, the 2022 season, Santos was promoted to a starter in the midfield and led his team to promotion to the Brazilian First Division, catching the eye of many European giants along the way. During that season, Santos became Vasco da Gama's youngest goalscorer ever in a 3-2 victory over Náutico. Following his impressive 2022 campaign, Andrey Santos joined Chelsea FC for €12.5 million in early January 2023. His signing may have gone under the radar, however, as Chelsea spent hundreds of millions of dollars in the winter window with the signings of Enzo Fernandez, Michael Mudryk, and Benoit Badiashile, to name a few. And coming from the Serie B, it was unlikely that many football fans even knew who he was before joining Chelsea FC. Unfortunately, Andrey Santos failed to qualify for an English work permit and was then loaned back to Vasco da Gama at the beginning of March, having not been able to play for Chelsea. Though Santos' 2023 started with the disappointment of failing to obtain a work permit, it soon turned around as he captained Brazil in the South American U20 Championship. Brazil went on to win the tournament, led by none other than Santos himself and fellow Brazilian wonderkid Vitor Roque, who recently signed for Barcelona. Both Santos and Roque finished as top scorers with 6 goals each. Santos scored in 6 of Brazil's 9 games, including a 3-1 victory over rivals Argentina. Then, after his excellent performance for Brazil's under-20s, Brazilian interim head coach Ramon Menezes called him up to the Brazilian first team in March of 2023, where he started in his first cap for the first team against Morocco in a friendly. So after all this, here we are now. Santos is back in blue and has joined back up with Chelsea for preseason after finally obtaining a work permit. He will have the opportunity to impress Pochetino during Chelsea's preseason tour in the United States, where they will take on many Premier League sides. If Santos can show that he can perform against the likes of Brighton, Newcastle, and Fulham in preseason, Pochettino, who's looking to give first-team roles to Chelsea's younger players in the upcoming season, could award Santos with an important role in the squad, specifically the defensive midfielder role next to Enzo, where Santos could play as a box-to-box midfielder. Making the most of an opportunity like this would quickly propel Santos' career, given first that he can cement himself into Chelsea's first team, and prove that he can perform at one of the highest levels of professional football worldwide. And I have few doubts that he can achieve this, because despite his young age, he almost acts like a veteran player on the field. He's confident on the ball, smart in his decision-making, and cool and collected under pressure. Pretty much, he plays with a brain far beyond his years, and is just all around exciting to watch. Santos is definitely a name to look out for in this upcoming season, and I think this is going to be his breakout campaign.